the Magi did not appear before the newborn king empty-handed. They came with gifts of gold, frankincense or incense, and myrrh. The three gifts are symbolic and speak a lot of the nature of the newborn child. Gold pays tribute to his kingship. The incense pays respect to his divinity, and myrrh foreshadows his suffering and death, because myrrh is preservative. In those days, there was no embalming yet. They would just apply myrrh to preserve the body. So myrrh symbolized what would become of the child king, child divine. Later he will die, and he will die for nothing but for the salvation of his beloved people. Myrrh qualifies kingship and divinity of the child, because we have our own concept of what a king is, of what a divine being is, and it is myrrh that limits our understanding, qualifies our understanding of what kind of a king and a divine being this child is born to us. Myrrh makes kingship and divinity an oxymoron. You know what is an oxymoron? Oxymoron is a compound word composed of opposing words. I give you an example. One oxymoron would be silent scream, because a scream cannot be silent, and if there is silence, that cannot be somebody screaming. But we have that word, silent scream is an oxymoron. Another oxymoron, very common, is plastic glass. A plastic is not glass, and glass will never be plastic. Taken literally, it is an oxymoron. In the background, in the context of myrrh, king, suffering, divine suffering, they would sound to us an oxymoron, and yet it happened in the gift of that child, and the explanation is love. My dear brothers and sisters, this feast used to be called Three Kings or Feast of the Magi, but the church changed it to Epiphany, to shift the focus from the three kings to the revelation of God. God was unknown in the past. Finally, He was revealed in that Word incarnate, in the child Jesus. But even if we change already the focus of the feast from the Magi to Epiphany, we have a lot of things to learn from the Magi. After a long search, after a long journey, their journey ended up in God, in the newborn child, in the newborn king. At the end of our long journey, I hope you will end up before the mighty presence of God, and not before the smiling face of Taning. Of course, He'd be happy to have you. He would smile and say, welcome to my kingdom, because Satan will never rest until he sees us losing, because he's so envious about human beings saved by the Lord by His blood. My dear brothers and sisters, when you come before the presence of God, I hope that you will not be empty-handed. I hope that you will also have your gifts. Christianity is a results-oriented religion. God abhors fruitless Christianity. Remember Luke 13 verses 1 to 9 when Jesus was looking for fruits from a fig tree. And of course, it was not time for figs. And so the apostles said, "My Lord, it's not time for figs." But Jesus said, "Cut it off. No excuse." The message is, in season or out of season, we have to be fruitful with fruits of Christianity, fruits of our faith. So please do not go on vacation when it comes to morality. Do not take a break when it comes to doing it right. Do not take a break when it comes to applying your faith. And I warn you, life is short. Our life is 70 or 80 for those who are strong, according to scriptures. That may not be literal, but that means life is finite. And you may not reach 80, by the way, because lots of things can happen. Life is short. Prepare now. We have received 365 days, and it's now past 7 days. Please invest that. That is supposed to be your capital. Do not imitate the guy in the parable of the talents who buried the capital, and when the master arrived, just dug from the ground and presented without interest the capital given to him. We have received 365 days. Please invest that in good works of charity. The favorite works of God is works of charity, especially to the least, the lost, and the last, so that when our time comes to face the mighty presence of God, we may come with faith, shining as the gold of the Magi. We may come with good works, so fragrant to the Lord, as fragrant as the frankincense. And you may come with works of charity that, like myrrh, preserves your memory in the lives of people over which you have made